You know, I gotta say, whoever picked this music did an amazing job. This is like the perfect outro music. Oh, hey everybody, congratulations. Give yourselves a round of applause. You did it. You survived 2023 alongside me and a bunch of other people doing a bunch of other things on YouTube and elsewhere. Welcome to the end of the year video where we talk about what happened in 2023 and what is going to happen going forward into 2024, the future. As of now, if you're watching this in 2024 in the future, then that will be the past or the present. Weird how time works. 2023 was sort of a big year for both Disney, the company, and Offhand Disney, the YouTube channel. Disney, the company, celebrated 100 years of being a corporation that, exists in the world. And it was actually a lot of fun celebrating that, especially over at Disneyland, especially on opening day. They didn't do too much for Walt Disney World. We finally got to see the opening of Tron Light Cycle Run over at the Magic Kingdom, which I was a huge fan of, still am actually. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's, quick, but I love Tron Legacy and I'm not sorry. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opened alongside the rest of New Toontown as part of the, whole Disney 100 celebration, which was great. And we finally got the opening of the Adventureland Treehouse, and I seriously cannot wait to see it when I'm finally able to get back down to Disneyland, which should be soon. World Celebration Gardens finally opened at Epcot, giving a nice way to cut through the middle of the park while we're on our way from Test Track or Guardians of the Galaxy to Living with the Land, which is where we're all going, I'm assuming, right? Yet another addition I can't wait to see relatively soon with my own eyes. I think that's just about enough of the 2023 recap. We were all there, we all lived through it, we made it through. Why not talk about what comes next? What's happening in the future in 2024? And the first big thing that jumps out to me is the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now that is confirmed for winter or late 2024. No specific release date has been given yet, but it is going to happen next year, as long as everything stays on schedule, which I think it will. It's moving along at a pretty brisk pace at Walt Disney World, and Disneyland is a couple months behind it. Did I just call the opening date for an attraction a release date? Yeah, maybe. But here's my first bold prediction for the new year, specifically pertaining to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I believe that, yes, it will open in time for that winter, late 2024 deadline, and I think it is going to blow people away. I think we are all going to be pleasantly surprised at how much of an upgrade this ended up being in such a, relatively quick amount of time, and I think it'll quickly overtake Splash Mountain as the favored version of the two attractions. I think it's going to be great. There's going to be some heated debate on this new attraction, but with everything that we've seen so far, we've seen a tiny bit of a set on the inside, and we know that the new animatronics that they're building from the ground up for this attraction are going to be impressive, at least the animal ones are. If they make Tiana a projection face, I will throw a temper tantrum, but the animals look great. They've started unveiling portions of the queue on the outside of Walt Disney World's version of the ride, and it looks amazing. I'm just really excited to have a log flume finally back open at the parks so we can cool down and also get a wonderful high-up view of the parks as we go down that final drop. All of that in under 12 months, so I'm very excited. In other news of Disney attractions getting rethemes on the other end of the spectrum, remember at Destination D23 when Disney announced that the Country Bear Jamboree would be getting an update? I think that one's gonna fly mostly under the radar. The Country Bear Jamboree, as it exists even now, sort of flies under the radar. I don't think updating the show to consist of solely Disney songs is going to make it any better, any more of an attractor. I think the people who were fans of the Jamboree before this will continue to remain fans, and I think the people who weren't really fans and would usually sort of, just skip it during their trips will continue to skip it. It's not gonna become a draw just because now the bears are singing Disney songs. And yes, that technically counted as my second of my 10 predictions. We're too deep now at this point. Speaking of ride rethemes and overlays and overhauls and whatnot, I do think we will see something happen with Disneyland's Space Mountain. If you didn't know, they upgraded some of the effects earlier this year, gave it a new exterior lighting package, but the hyperspace blue light tunnel is still dark. It's still not working, but I do think something's going to happen. Before the end of 2024, Space Mountain will see a sort of 1.5, I guess this is already like 2.0, so maybe like a 2.3 or 2.5 update to Disneyland Space Mountain. Walt Disney World is going to stay the same, don't worry about that, but Disneyland's is going to change somehow. How that's going to be, I'm not sure, but that hyperspace tunnel is going to receive some sort of update. Which, sort of brings into question, are they going to do this to more Tomorrowland attractions? They're doing it with Space Mountain, they've done it with the subs, they're going to do it with the new Ahsoka scenes in Star Tours. What other Tomorrowland attractions are going to receive just small little touches to make them even better? Matterhorn? Maybe? Maybe the Autopia? Not that, though. That's... Talk about that in a second. I predict that some sort of news about the Disneyland Forward project will break, some sort of concept or discussion or approval vote. Something will make the news. It's not going to be very huge news, but it's just going to be like, hey, Disneyland Forward, we're moving ahead. Everything's, you know, pretty good. Nothing really concrete. Nothing set in stone. Everything is going to be vague with Disneyland Forward until, you know, the next 5 to 10 years. I think the plans are going to get a bit further fleshed out. What we've seen so far is very much just a rough idea of what Disney would do if Forward is approved by the city, so maybe a little bit of concept art, but nothing much more than that. It's still going to be extremely vague. That's prediction number 4. We're going to get Disneyland Forward news in some way, but it's not going to be really that important. I would, however, love to be proven wrong on this and we get some huge, you know, massive news drop that it's going and we have this really in-depth concept art. I don't see that happening, but like I said, prove me wrong, Disney. Also, on the note of new expansions, I think just one of the announced expansions that Disney was sort of blue skying back at D23 and Destination D23 will be announced and confirmed for, you know, some specific timeline this year at D23 Expo. Maybe earlier, but probably at the Expo. Will it be... There's that door open. Will it be Pandora at Disneyland? Will it be the Avengers E-ticket? Maybe Beyond Big Thunder Mountain or the Dino Land overhaul? Who knows? Could be any of those, none of those, or one of those, but I do think at least, or probably at most, my guess is that one of those will be announced, will be given a time frame, and will be officially confirmed to be moving forward at the Disney parks. It's no longer just blue sky. We're not just blue skying it. We're actually going to be doing this now. We're actually going to be building the Avengers E-ticket instead of just talking about it. And talking about it. If I had to pick any of those projects to move forward, it would be Beyond Big Thunder Mountain because there's just so much land back there that could be used. A close second would be the Avengers E-ticket though. I really am very curious as to what that is, but it could be just, you know, a screen-based simulator ride, which I do not want. So to play it safe, an entire new land expansion behind the Haunted Mansion, behind Big Thunder Mountain, sounds like the better of the two alternatives. You know, we've talked about a lot of fun stuff, and we'll get back to the fun stuff, but it's time to talk for a second about the boring stuff. The stuff that has to do with the day-to-day operations at the parks. Like, for example, the reservation system. What is going to happen to the reservation system in 2024? And at Walt Disney World, it's actually looking pretty promising. Starting on January 11th of 2024, Disney World will introduce good-to-go days for its annual pass holders, where they can just enter the park without needing a reservation, you know, with their own spontaneity. They can do whatever they want. Now, not every day will be a good-to-go day, but I have a sneaking suspicion that most of them will be. Disney World annual pass holders are a far smaller bunch than the pass holders, or I guess key holders, over at Disneyland. I can see them throughout the course of the year, maybe even dropping the good-to-go days altogether and just re-implementing the old annual pass holder system where there's blockout dates and dates where you can go. Just the reservation system will be completely wiped for the pass holders, but for the key holders over at Disneyland, I'm sorry to say, I don't see the same thing happening. Maybe park hopping hours get adjusted, but I don't think the reservation system is going to be dropped anytime soon over at Disneyland, which I know is not the prediction you want to hear, but a lot of you folks who watch my videos over there on the West Coast, you know the reservation system is a very big detriment to how you enjoy Disneyland, and I do empathize with that. It's not a huge deal for me. I gotta get plane tickets and hotel reservations anyway, so it's just an extra step. But I am sad there is really kind of, at this point, seemingly no light at the end of the tunnel for the key holders who live and breathe Disney and who live and breathe close enough where they can visit whenever they want. The reservation system's a huge hurdle. And, you know, speaking of hurdles, Genie Plus. It's been a very hot topic of debate since it was introduced, replacing the free Fast Pass system, and it's not going anywhere. People continue to pay for it, the price continues to go up, and Genie Plus will remain in its current form as it is now for the long haul. And they've even started implementing it more, like at the Little Mermaid over at California Adventure, a ride that did not need Genie Plus at all. It's just now a long wait for a ride that is not, I wouldn't say worth it, but it's not concurrent, it's not equivalent to the amount of time that you're waiting in line for that ride nowadays, now that they have Genie Plus, because now they're loading from 2 lines, it's a whole thing. But Genie Plus is going to stay the way that it is, maybe even get a little bit worse. I've even myself, yes, offhand Disney dipped a little bit into the Genie Plus days some days. I've maybe bought it 2 or 3 days since they've introduced it, just on those busier days where it's needed. And I consider myself, you know, a vocal critic of Genie Plus, and even if I've bought it 2 or 3 times, it's here to stay, all right? The people who will never buy it, obviously, will never buy it, but the people who are going for, say, quote-unquote vacations, or just for a couple days like myself, it's kind of worth the extra $20 to $30. What I'm going to say is a little controversial. I've maybe said it before, I can't remember, but it is not as good, not even close to as good as the old Fast Pass and Max Pass over at Disneyland, but far, far superior to the old Fast Pass Plus. I know it was free, but having to arrange your Fast Passes and where you would be in the park and what rides you were riding 2 months ahead of time, that's just a lot of foreplanning that I did not need. Unless you're the kind of folks who, you know, only go maybe once every 2 years, once every 3 years, planning the day of is the way to go, okay? It's just flying by the seat of my pants, experiencing the park as it comes to you. That's the way to do it. Now, on the topic of new Epcot, which we discussed earlier, I do not think there will be any announcements for new test track or a time frame for new test track to be opened and operating, new Spaceship Earth, or a new version of Journey into Imagination. I think we will go all of 2024 without hearing anything about Epcot. I think the Epcot project is winding down. Once Communicore Hall is open, that's going to be it for the foreseeable future. New test track, maybe 2025 we'll hear something at, you know, Destination D23, but I think 2024 will be a period of just no news for Epcot because they're winding that down. I mean, yeah, as an Epcot fan myself, this is not the prediction I wanted to predict this year, but I do think Epcot is just about done with its revamp, and I do think it needs more attention. Honestly, I think Spaceship Earth really could use that update, and I think Journey into Imagination needs a little bit of love. Everything else, other than that, though, I think is fine the way it is. New test track is going to be a welcome surprise, but Epcot just needs a little bit more, just a little bit more to be that perfect park I was at least envisioning, but I guess I think they're going to stop this year. I think Epcot is done. We're getting another D23 Expo this year, just called D23, and my prediction for that is it's going to be a lot of fun. It doesn't matter what they announce at the movie panels or the TV show panels or even the parks panel. D23 Expo is just a great time all around, no matter what happens. Everyone there is just so happy to be there. Everyone's a Disney fan. It's one of the best experiences of my life, honestly, and I am so ready to go again this year. That's my prediction. D23 2024 will be a ton of fun, and I think, honestly, this one probably has the biggest chance of being accurate. And my friend, if you have plans to visit, I look forward to seeing you there, all right? It's just such a great time. It's just a good time. But now, my friends, we've arrived toward the end of the video. I am here to talk about my final prediction regarding Tomorrowland at Disneyland. I fear, my friends, that the People Mover at Disneyland will remain dead. The passage of time has weathered me down to a shell of my former self, and I don't think we're going to get anything, ever, regarding the opening of a People Mover at Disneyland. If we do get any People Mover news anytime soon, it's going to be that the People Mover track itself is going to be completely torn down in order to make way for something new, something better, if that's possible. Yet another year of a dead People Mover track looming above our heads, just out of reach at Disneyland. Walt Disney World, yeah, we will be able to continue the wonderful attraction that is the Wedway People Mover in Tomorrowland for years and years to come. It's the best ride at the Magic Kingdom, maybe tied with the Haunted Mansion. But the Disneyland People Mover, oh, the cursed Disneyland People Mover will be rotting away for yet another 365 days. Disney, if you were to prove me wrong on any of my predictions at all, okay? Prove me wrong on this one. Not the reservation system one or the Genie Plus one. No, those are fine. Those can stay. Bring back the People Mover. So there are my predictions for the Disney parks, at least the American Disney parks in 2024. Kind of, relatively at least, a slow year compared to years we've had in the past. I am most looking forward to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but D23 Expo is going to be a very close second. It's going to be very fun. But those are just my opinions. Those are just my predictions. What predictions do you have, my friend? What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen to Disneyland or Walt Disney World or both next year, this year, 2024? Is it going to be the year where the Disney parks make that comeback, or are they already back? Depends on how you look at it, I guess. Either way, I'm excited. I'm always excited for the future of the Disney parks. Call it the hopeless Disney romantic in me. I am eternally positive on the state of the parks. The company as a whole, you know, ups and downs. I would love to hear your predictions down in the comments below. I'm going to spend a little bit of time down there, you know, after this video goes live, discussing it with you all. Seriously, what do you think is going to happen? I'm honestly asking you because I just made a bunch of random guesses, but usually my guesses end up coming to fruition. I think Disney watches these videos, talking about the Haunted Mansion queue, and then they may announce a whole new Haunted Mansion queue. Great. I'm glad we're getting a new queue, but why does it have to stay closed for so long? And now I'm getting off track. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. We're going to go right to the end card after this, but before I do, I just want to say to all of you still watching, thank you for sticking with me throughout 2023, and here's to an even greater 2024. I'll see you there. Hey there, everybody. This is that end card I was talking about. The last end card of 2023 before the new year. We made it. How many times have I said that? How many times has, like, your dad said that since this, the year is coming to a close? Sorry about that. Real quick, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you're new around here and you want more videos, not actually quite like this one, I only do one of these sort of look back, look forward videos every single year. But if you want to hear my stupid voice and see my dumb face more often, hit that subscribe button. The names that you see scrolling on your screen on that left-hand side are the names of all of my supporters on Patreon who actually earlier this week got access to a Patreon exclusive video. That's right, only patrons over just at the website down in the description below who pledge even just $1 a month. They get access to a special Offhand Disney plans for 2024 video where I'll discuss like what I'm going to do with the channel, the sort of videos that I'm going to make, and where I will be going, what I will be doing on the channel in the new year. If that sounds interesting to you, you can only see it, like I said, if you're a Patreon supporter, so the link in the description, $1 a month. It's not a bad deal, if I do say so myself. And if you are already a Patreon supporter, why not check that out if you've missed it? And also, thank you very much for your continued support to the channel, everybody. You can also follow me on my social medias. I am at Offhand Disney on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It makes it really easy to find. You can find me on all of those websites, just Offhand Disney. Pretty simple. But with all that being said, I think that wraps up the final end card of the year, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video in the new year. I'm done talking about the new year, about the year being new now, so don't worry about that. Thank you, and goodbye.